Yes.
And like, hello, my name is Javier Archer and I am 9 years
What would
old.
you like to be when you grow up?
I would like to be a pilot because my father says you get a lot of money from being a pilot.
So if your father didn't say you made a lot of money from being a pilot, what would you want to be?
I still be the pilot because before he said that I still wanted to be a pilot. Today I will be telling you about cars.
What can you tell me about cars?
My favorite type of cars are drifting cars.
Drifting cars? What is that? Because I don't know what a drifting car is.
A drifting car is a car that if you have enough power or speed, it will make your wheels spin enough. But first, before you start the drifting, you have to get speed and then turn the wheel very fast, one way. Then you will start turning that way. Then you have to turn back the wheel the other way, but not too much because that will stop the car from drifting.
What kind of car does that?
My favorite car that does that is a Supra. My second favorite is a S15. And my third favorite, I don't think I have a third favorite.
Okay, that's fine.
Most drifters always use Mustangs or cars that aren't supposed to drift because most people just want to look cool.
So what kind of cars are not supposed to drift?
Mustang GT, the Ford, the one with the horse logo. You know that one?
What type of cars are made for drifting?
Just like these S15. No, they're not made for drifting. No cars are made for drifting. You just set up your own car. You can build your own car from scratch. You can make your own car out of mentally gathered or whatever you have.
So if you were going to make a car for drifting, how would you set it up?
I would have took limited slip because like some off-road cars, they're supposed to go off-road, you know. But if you want them to drift, they're not made for drifting, so you just not make them for drifting, and it's like make them a special way. So you only need power for a car to drift. Another car that you can use for drifting are Nissan Silvia S15, a Supra. What else? You have the Nissan Skyline, not the Nissan GT or a Nissan Skyline, because the Nissan GT it has all-wheel drive, AWD. Because if you have all-wheel drive, it will probably give too much power, so you have to set the drivetrain to rear-wheel drive, RWD. So if you have a car that is all-wheel drive, you have to set it a certain way because it will have too much grip. So you have to make tires that slip or like oil tires or something. But some people, they have special tires because if you don't have special tires, why would you waste your money on oil every time you want to drift? Although sometimes you have to buy new tires, it will have more durability. The tires will have more durability than the oil because the oil will burn out. And if the oil burns out, you're gonna get too much more traction, and the car will go off the road because you turn to the way of the road that you're not supposed to go to. And if you do that, you will end up have to buy a new car. And if you buy a new car, that's gonna be a lot of money. Another car that you can get is a Toyota Chaser. A Toyota Chaser is a car that is a pretty old car. And if you use old cars, some old cars are the best sounding cars, just like the S15, that's a very old car. And if you take that car, the Toyota Chaser, if you take that car, you will have some advantages because old cars have some advantages over new cars.
How do they have advantages over some cars, over new cars?
Old cars, they're made more recklessly because In the past, people didn't used to know about drifting, you know. And if you don't know about drifting, you're going to make a reckless car. And if you make a reckless car, it's gonna be made for drifting, and you don't know. So you have to get that would be a cheap car. That would be a cheap car, and you don't have to spend a lot of money on a new car and build the car. And if you build your own car, that's gonna be even more expensive because the car itself would be expensive, right? And if the car is expensive and you have to buy more things to make it have to drift, then you waste your money and you can't get slippery tires and you have to buy oil, which is less expensive. But the old cars now, you don't have to buy any extra stuff. You can just use a car, paint it up and make it look cool, and it's already made for drifting.
Yes, what other vehicles do you like?
Oh, vehicles such as trucks.
Tell me about trucks. What do you like about trucks?
About trucks, they're very loud, and the engine brake, for some reason, I loved it. And if you have a good engine, I love that even more.
What other trucks do you like?
A Kenworth and a Peterbilt. Those are my favorite trucks. Most people call it Peterbilt. No, but Supra has a bike as well. The Supra company has a bike. And the Supra has many different selections. I didn't know that. It was in the same year I learned about that. It was like when my parents were getting a Honda Fix. And I did not tell you anything about engines. A K20 or a K24 is in the car that my mother has right now. And the person that was fixing the mirror, like the side mirror, he was the one that told me about that. And it was that same day that I learned about the bike, because I got out the car and other person pulled up before I got out the car. I thought it was a car, but then I came out and it was a bike. I looked at the side plate at the left of the right of the bike, and it said Supra. And then I asked the mechanic if there are actually Supra bikes, or is that just a sponsor. He said it's actually a brand. And now about pickup trucks or off-road vehicles. My favorite is a Ford pickup truck, because you can carry a lot of stuff in that Ford while going through dirt, mud, water, and a lot of other stuff. And if you get to go through a lot of other stuff, you can take shortcuts, because if you go on the road, you have to take a long route. Off-road vehicle, you can just go that way.
What is an off-road vehicle?
An off-road vehicle is a vehicle that can go through dirt, mud, water, and other stuff that's in the forest. Bikes. They're thin vehicles that can go through other vehicles without disturbing them or crashing. But you still don't need a special permit, because bikes, they're thin, and you need to be skilled, and they're less protected, so you need a helmet. Because cars, they have a shell, and bikes don't. You just sit on the bike, and you can go through traffic and go through the front without crashing. But that's only if you have a permit and you know how to drive a bike. Bikes can drift as well. I think that's all I have today about vehicles and drifting vehicles. Please subscribe to Views from Yaad. My name is Javier, and today I will be interviewing you about...
Today I'm interviewing you.
You can edit that out. It was like when my parents were getting... Oh Lord.
Are you happy now that you have to do online classes?
I think I like the online classes because if you have to go to the tuck shop or somewhere, that's like get up and go all the way. Instead of having your parents or your siblings carry something.
That's the only reason why you like online school better than face-to-face classes?
No, I just don't want to move.